On this short video I just wanted to show you how I build up an eye. I've been doing a lot of these drawings lately using white pencil on black paper. I like the simplicity of the fact you can just pick up a white pencil and start creating art, whereas if you're using oils or watercolors, acrylics, then generally you need to put on old clothing, you need to get the paints out, the tubes out and all that type of thing, and that takes time, and sometimes you just want to sit down. So that's why I'm really enjoying these white on blacks. And as you can see, the drawing is actually almost finished, but I've left this section to record for you to show how I build up this eye. Now the important thing with these white pencils is to build the colour or the brightness of the white up. If you go too white too quickly, it can be a little bit difficult to erase and to subdue the mark. So it's much easier to start off subdued and then really punch out the highlights later on. Now it's a real strange appearance to the eye at the moment, and that's because the eyebrow is casting a lot of shadow actually over the eye. So what you see in there in the top section is more of the cast shadow of the eyelids or the eyelashes and the eyebrow and that thick fur above the eye. So it's creating a real hooded look to it. Now as I continue to build it up, it'll start to make a bit more sense, and it makes more sense when you see it in the context of the whole drawing. So the section I'm putting in lightly now, as you can see I'm going a little bit lighter, is really the very subdued shadow area. And the white pencil I'm using, if you missed it at the beginning, it's Faber-Castell, and that's Albrecht Dürer pencil. Now sometimes I also use the Polychromos white as well. Some of these can be a little bit tricky to get in the UK, so both of those I find very similar. And then to get the real punchy whites, the whitest pencil I've found so far is the Derwent Drawing Chinese White 7200, and I'll use that for the last sections. Now I've got videos already on YouTube, and I can put a link up to show the actual testing I've done on these pencils to show the abilities of each one. So the Faber-Castells I use for 99% of the drawings, and then for that real punchy white, that's when I go with the Derwent Drawing White. The problem with the Derwent one, but it's not really a problem, but the actual lead is very soft, so you can't keep a point for a long time on there, and that's why you can get those vibrant whites though. So you can see I'm gradually building and building. Obviously there's only so much pencil that the grain of the paper can take, so you can't take too long getting to the white, so it won't actually hold it if you keep going too light. So you can see the eye is starting to make a bit more sense now, and towards the end I'll probably put a little bit of the fur in as well, just so you can see the technique for the fur. Now these drawings, they look very similar in the end to a scratchboard art, but I think these are even a little bit more forgiving. You have got that opportunity to erase a little bit. You'll never go back to the pure blackness of the paper, but you can get away with a little bit more than you would with a scratchboard. And these drawings, they can look, when they're finished, they can look really detailed and they look really difficult to do, but believe me, it's a lovely medium to use. All you've got to do is work from dark to light. The black of the paper is your darkest dark, and just gradually build it. That's the secret to these drawings, and it's something I really encourage everybody to do. Even if you're a real oil painter or you're really into colour, you'll find you'll gain a lot from these black and white studies, because it's really showing you how to look at the tones, the lights and the darks, and that's the most important part of any painting really. Anything realistic, you've got to get those tones right. So the eye's going to start to make a bit more sense now that I'm starting to put in some of the moisture areas beneath the eye. Very slowly I'm doing it, and then I'm going to start to put in some of the fur. So I got a couple of videos on my website showing, you know, step by step how I do these, and you can see every pencil mark I make over a couple of hours. I suppose this particular drawing is quite large, and it's taken me probably, when I completed it, it was probably around about 2.5 to 3 hours. So that's still quite fast. If I was doing this in oils, I'd probably be looking at 8 to 10 hours. So what's the secret to this fur? You know, don't cover up all of the black paper. If you colour up all of the black paper, you're going to get just a block of white. More often than not, I start with the area that's furthest away, so the bit of the fur that's underneath, and then layer the other areas on top. Now that's naturally how the fur sits, so it makes sense to do it like that. Now I do exactly the same whether I'm using oils or pencils. It gives you that realistic appearance. And look at the direction of the fur on the reference. Really important. It's critical. You know, this area I'm doing now, underneath the eye, all these fur marks, they angle towards the right hand side. And that's what's giving it shape and form. If I pointed them all down, regimented, it just looked like some sort of picket fence. So you've got to look at the reference. That's the critical part. But everyone can do it. You just got to open your eyes, trust what you're seeing, and don't draw or paint what you think is there. Draw and paint what is actually there. And the more you do it, the more your eye and the brain gets used to this type of process, and it gets easier. You know, I really think that the human brain it loves regimented things. It loves everything in a neat and tidy order. So fur is never really going in perfectly straight lines following each other. It's always going in slightly different directions. So you've got to be careful. Don't go on autopilot and let your brain take over, because before you know it, you're going to have one of those picket fences. Hope you've enjoyed that video, and if so, I got lots more on my YouTube channel, and don't forget, the only way not to miss out on any new videos is to click the subscribe button. On my website, I've got full-length feature videos, I've got reference photo CDs and ebooks, and also the new Easy Trace line art tool. So hope to see you either on my YouTube or my website jasonmorgan.co.uk. See you all again real soon.